information I want to correct is that the lady in question was like a daughter to me. She had stayed with me for 3 years. She was a staff of the Federal Medical University. She was a nurse and not a physiotherapist. And the family and my family are like one family. And she has her medical records in Turkish hospital, being paid by us. And she spoke to her boyfriend at the hour of her death and complaining that she was bleeding from the nose. And the boyfriend said, no, you have to report. You say it has stopped. So the boyfriend said, listen, I will not continue this conversation since you are bleeding. It will increase the bleeding. And she told the boyfriend, don't cut the call. The boyfriend cut the call. And 3 minutes later, the boyfriend called again. She was not responding. And even in the morning, she told the boyfriend she was going to bath because she locked her door, you know. So even in the morning, when they broke the door and discovered her dead, the tap was still running, you know. So, but what baffles me, you know, in this country is that everything becomes an opportunity. Now, there is a guest house where her and the second medical person stay. And that is very far from where I stay. And so it means that, God forbid, somebody dies in Ministry of Works, the minister must be accountable to that. Is that what they are saying? Is that they are saying that somebody cannot die? Is that, have they checked the medical records of the lady? Do they know, you know, that this lady was like a daughter to me? And that, you know, everything goes into politics. But what I say to people, be careful. Life is spiritual. When you want to use the unfortunate death of a young girl to play politics, if we have hands in the killings, it will follow us in our family. But if we don't have hands and you are jumping into it, behold, this is David. I'm a man of full grace. You don't, you know, tackle me anyhow and you go out of it. So be careful when you want to use the death of that young lady. You know, one of my best workers, a nurse, a staff of the federal. Somebody said, oh, they were transported. You know, the second girl is from Benue State, you know, and that girl has worked with me as a governor before she was employed. And so when people darken the so while I'm not talking to the president, it means nothing, but very painful to me that that girl passed on. You know, it's very difficult to replace her. You know, and you know, the parents will be begging them, allow for autopsy to happen. They say it's against their culture. But the question is that if she were a Muslim, will you be insisting that autopsy will happen? You know. But we insisted to our lawyer that autopsy should happen. And we are begging the parents to allow autopsy to happen. And I say, no, it's against their culture. And so we have a stalemate, you know. And only God will resolve it because I have directed that the corpse cannot be removed until they have done autopsy. But it's very strange why an unfortunate thing that happened, you know, is being made this. Is it that we killed a woman that was giving me injection, you know, or that, you know, was administering drug to us, that live in our guest house, even in my residence in Asokoro? So what sort of rubbish is that, you know? So, but people should be careful because when I kneel down to pray, I say when you push yourself into this, I say, God, may the death of the girl be better than their own death. That's my prayer for everybody that is using it to play politics. But if we have hands, let it also follow us. Because it can be very annoying when people use, you know, people's, you know, unfortunate incident and are playing politics. Some people are calling me, we are this organization, we want to do protest, we want you to see us. You know, what is it? This is David. You know, I don't fear battle, you know, and I've never lost any, you know. But life is spiritual. We need to be very, very careful. It's very important. So the matter is ongoing. We've reported to IG to transfer the case to Abuja, so that you know, because I'm from a former governor there, so let them transfer it to Abuja. And let them beg the family to do autopsy. I'm begging the family to meet with IG so that maybe IG can convince them. But there are medical records, in Turkish hospital. The last one was on 5th of April, and it cost me 2.2 million. The records are there. I paid 2.2 million, you know. So that is it. So I don't want to go because it's like a daughter that died. So I'm mourning, and I laugh at, you know, so she says a physiotherapist. You know, they presented the girls as if they were wrong girls, you know. These people were inside the plane with me, you know, and my immediate staff. We flew together. It's not as if they even came to Ebonyi differently. We flew together, you know, with them, you know. We're going to Lagos, you know, and this is not the first time. The boyfriend also told us that in Lagos, which was when we went for this coastal road, that she called him and said she was bleeding from the nose. He said, no, report to your boss. He said the boss will insist that she should go back to hospital, that she didn't want, and she don't stress me. So he said, look for hospital around there and go. That's the confession of the boyfriend, you know. And so I've asked the police to go to the call log, you know, and then they will see the last discussion, you know, the girl had with the boyfriend at the hour of death, you know. Because the moment the boyfriend started calling again, she was not picking the call again. So you can go to the call log of the boy, go to the call log of the girl, and you hear the conversation. You know, it's an unfortunate thing that happens. And like I said again, she's been receiving treatment at Turkish hospital, and the medical records are there. So I don't want to join issues with anybody, but just know that the guest house far from where I was staying, and as the head of that home, you know, I take responsibility in making sure that, you know, the right thing is done. But I suspect no foul play, you know, but because, is it the girl, the colleague from Benue State, you know, that who they sleeping on the same bed? Is it the girl that we remotely kill her because her door was still locked? That door was broken before she did this thing, and the tap was still running, you know. And the police, you know, because she I think she was going to bath, and so when they took her to the mortuary, that's when the police took the picture in the mortuary. They don't dress up in the mortuary, and took the picture, and they send out damaging information. The police, you know, whoever that spoke to Sahara reporter, after the burial, we answered to our family. We are not going to leave the matter lying. You know, I've directed my lawyers to get across to two, you know, people on cyber bullying on this matter. You know, so we're going to test the law on that. You know, so
thank you very much.
That's just it.
Thank you very much.
May her soul rest in peace.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. We are comfortable.
Rehabilitating terrorists cannot, at whatever level of influence, be encouraged. But let us do our needful. Let the government do their needful by taking care of the victims of this insecurity. In my constituency, I still have 81 not yet recovered Chibok girls. In Borno, as I'm speaking to you, last 2 weeks, we lost nothing less than 45 people in one local government, and all of them are school children. They are still in the bush. And you are saying these little children, the government should not pay ransom. Even FBI, SWAT in America paid ransom in cash to collect a single American. A single American.
I want to say that in addition to not paying ransom, I don't believe and I don't see any rationale behind rehabilitating a criminal that is killing people. When arrested, you rehabilitate him and he becomes an informant in the mix of our own security. So in addition to his prayers, I want to amend that government should not rehabilitate killers. There is no reason whatsoever for kidnappers, for bandits, for Boko Harams to be rewarded by being trained and reintegrated in our own security system.
So as far as I'm concerned, I don't want us to reinforce this double jeopardy for poor Nigerians, helpless Nigerians whose loved ones are in the bush, in the dungeon, suffering today, and if the state has not demonstrated enough capacity or willpower to rescue them, their loved ones should not be made to face this kind of
so, Honorable Salami, are you saying that you are not in support of this motion or what?
I am not in support of the prayers to the extent that we want to further ask that that provision of the law be enforced against parents and other loved ones of victims of kidnapping in Nigeria until, as a country, we have a security system that is able to go after kidnappers and free kidnapped victims and then bring them to face.
Concerned that criminals and terrorist networks continue to exploit the formal and informal financial systems, including bureau de change operators, cryptocurrency platform, trade-based money laundering schemes to launder ransom proceeds and reintegrate them into legitimate economy. Worried that the weakness in the financial intelligence coordination and anti-money laundering enforcement expose Nigeria to increased security threats and undermine public confidence.
I want to say that in passing this motion, we should be very, very careful not to further hurt the feelings of thousands of Nigerians whose loved ones are currently in captivity and who have no hope in the state being able to rescue them. And I want to say on the final note, Mr. Speaker, that even the state, even the government, is on record to have paid ransom in some instances to get some persons out of captivity to escape embarrassment as a result of the attention some of these incidents was attracting to Nigeria. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't want us to reinforce this double jeopardy for poor Nigerians, helpless Nigerians, whose loved ones are in the bush, in the dungeon, suffering today, and if the state has not demonstrated enough capacity or willpower to rescue them, their loved ones should not be made to face this kind of
so, Honorable Salami, are you saying that you are not in support of this motion or what?
I am not in support of the prayers to the extent that we want to further ask that that provision of the law be enforced against parents and other loved ones of victims of kidnapping in Nigeria until, as a country, we have a security system that is able to go after kidnappers and free kidnapped victims and then bring them to face the law. I pray none of us is in that kind of situation. I have a very close person who has been in that situation for 15 days in Okene, Kogi State here.
So you are saying, Honorable Salami, that for the time being, until such time, payment of ransom should continue.
Until government is willing and
That's what
able,
I'm saying.
sir.
You are encouraging that payment of ransom should continue,
Mr. Speaker, sir,
until we get it right.
Mr. Speaker, sir, there are many things the citizens deserve in Nigeria that government is not able to provide for them, and they go to find alternate means of providing for themselves, including electricity, including water, and then including security now.
From you, Honorable Salami.
So
thank you
Mr. Speaker,
for your contribution.
I remain very loyal, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Gadi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yusuf Gagdi, representing Panshinkanke Kanam Federal Constituency of Plateau State. Let me be clear, Mr. Speaker. I am in total support of this bill, of this motion from A to Z, and these are my reasons. Mr. Speaker, even in a classroom, when a student passes exams, you reward him, you expect him, you are a teacher. It serves as a motivation for him to do better tomorrow. Payment of ransom is an encouragement for bandits to continue to brutalize Nigerians the way they want. Mr. Speaker, nobody is happy about the security situation in Nigeria. Nobody does not know. Everyone, most Nigerians are aware of the historical antecedent of bandit in Nigeria, of attack, of kidnapping. And by so doing, Mr. Speaker, it's a long-time transition that takes us to where we are today. In as much as it is good to encourage government and appreciate government where need be to take measures that will curtail issues of insecurity, it does not stop us from taking decision, providing legal framework, providing resolution that will equally help government in, if properly enforced, it will curtail the act of kidnapping and banditry. When you don't pay ransom, and tomorrow you don't pay ransom, believe you me, Mr. Speaker, it will demoralize the bandit from doing what they are doing. So I want to come up with 2 amendments. Having accepted all the prayer, Mr. Speaker, yes, I want to say that in addition to not paying ransom, I don't believe and I don't see any rationale behind rehabilitating a criminal that is killing people. When arrested, you rehabilitate him and he becomes an informant in the mix of our own security. So in addition to his prayers, I want to amend that government should not rehabilitate killers. There is no reason whatsoever for kidnappers, for bandits, for Boko Harams to be rewarded by being trained and reintegrated in our own security system. Today you see ambush of our own. Sir, if Nigerians are killed, the people that put their life at the front banner of this war are equally being killed on daily basis. Police are killed, armies are killed, navy are killed, air force are killed, immigration are ambushed. So in that, who are giving this information to the bandit to be attacking the security agencies during operation? You cannot exonerate those so-called people, that criminals that I've said to be rehabilitated. So I want to amend the prayer by including and urging government to stop rehabilitation of arrested killers and criminals.
What do you want the government to do?
To kill them. Yes. He who kills should be. If you kill, Mr. Speaker, anybody that kills deserves to be killed. Except if it is a motor accident, our law is quite.
Mr. Speaker, you can only appreciate peace if you lost one. And you can equally appreciate freedom if you lost one. For those of us that are from security-ravaged areas that have been facing this insecurity in this country for almost 2 decades today, we know what parents, relatives, well-wishers faces when their loved ones are in captivity. All the people that spoke about this ransom, I doubt very much if a member of their family happened to be a victim of kidnapping or in the hands of Boko Haram and other non-state actors. Just last month, 349 women and children were released in my constituency. Whether it's ransom that is paid or it's not ransom that is paid, my concern is for my constituents to come back home. The issue of saying Nigeria spent more than 2.3 million naira, you have to look at the population of Nigeria in Africa and the size of Nigeria in Africa. Nigeria alone is more than 20 countries in Africa. Nigeria alone. So if Nigeria spent 2.1 trillion, I want you to do the arithmetic and compare to how much was spent in other African countries before you compare that of Nigeria. We should understand our position in the Committee of Africans. Another thing, rehabilitating terrorists cannot at whatever level of influence be encouraged. But let us do our needful. Let the government do their needful by taking care of the victims of this insecurity. In my constituency, I still have 81 not yet recovered small girls. In Borno, as I'm speaking to you, last 2 weeks, we lost nothing less than 45 people in one local government, and all of them are school children. They are still in the bush. And you are saying these little children government should not pay ransom. Even FBI, SWAT in America paid ransom in cash to collect a single American. A single American. Life is life, whether it's an American or a Nigerian. So I cannot sit down here while I have more than 1,000 children and women in captivity, and you are saying government should not do. Government must do everything within her limit. Relatives, parents must do everything within their limit to make sure that they recover their own children. It's very, very important. Another thing, let me conclude on the issue of the motion or amendment of my younger brother, Yusuf Gadi. If
is he a senior brother or
he's
junior?
my younger brother, it's Maki that is my senior brother.
Oh, so
yes.
Maki is senior to Yusuf Gadi.
He's even senior to me. I'm senior to Yusuf Gadi.
So he's your big brother.
Sir,
Yes.
he was an ordinary member. I was a deputy speaker in the state assembly.
But he's still my younger brother. So what I'm trying to say in a nutshell, in conclusion, government should focus more through the corridor to take care of the victims of the insurgents and attacked. Because if you kill my father, you kill my mother in my presence, there is no way I can go to school the following day, because morally I am demoralized. Financially, I have nobody to take care of me. So government should do something first, so that people can appreciate if you are trying to rehabilitate criminals, leveraging on United Nations Convention, human rights, and so on and so forth. So what I'm trying to say in a nutshell, for me, everything should be done in as much as those in captivity can gain their freedom. This is my position, because I know how I feel.